There is a reality most people today refuse to think about, not because it doesn't exist, but because looking at it demands too much of us. Today we face it directly. Not to terrify you, but to do what every good parent does, warn their child before it is too late. The topic is hell. And before you look away, consider this: every soul there once thought they had more time. You are still here. That means God is still waiting for you. Pope Pius X insisted that preachers must speak about hell because silence on this truth costs souls. Our Lady of Fatima showed 3 children this reality, not to traumatize them, but to move them to pray and sacrifice. They became saints. The purpose of this video is not fear, it is responsibility. Every act of your life will have eternal consequences, both good and bad. That is not an invention of the Church. Those are the words of Jesus Christ himself. This reflection has 2 purposes. First, a call to responsibility for you to use well the gift of freedom God gave you. Not license. Freedom, every choice you make will echo in eternity. Second, a call to conversion. Because if you are watching this, you are still alive, and that means you still have time. As Pope Benedict XVI taught, death is a meeting. Whether it becomes an encounter of love or a sentence of rejection depends entirely on how you lived today. The Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraph 1035, is explicit. The teaching of the Church affirms the existence of hell and its eternity. The souls of those who die in mortal sin descend immediately into hell, where they suffer the punishments of hell, eternal fire. Not believing in hell is heresy. It is not a medieval invention, not a cultural relic, not a matter of opinion. It is a revealed truth defined by the Church and confirmed by the lips of Jesus Christ himself. Here is a fact that silences every objection. Jesus Christ mentions hell directly and indirectly more than 70 times in the 4 Gospels. He uses the word Gehenna 11 times in Matthew and Mark alone. 7 times he describes the weeping and gnashing of teeth. 19 times he speaks of fire that never goes out. Those who deny hell face an uncomfortable choice: either Jesus wrong or Jesus lied. Since neither is possible, there is only one conclusion: on hell is real. Matthew 25-41. The words are devastating in their simplicity. Depart from me, accursed ones, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. Mark 9:43-48 repeats 3 times. Where their worm does not die and the fire is not quenched. Luke 16:23 shows a soul in torment crying out. John 5:29 speaks of a resurrection of condemnation. This is not the Church's invention. These are not my words. Every one of these verses came directly from the mouth of Christ. Jesus said it plainly in Matthew 7:13-14, enter by the narrow gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But narrow is the gate, and difficult the way that leads to life, and few are those who find it. Not a church council, not a theologian, not a pope. The one who died on the cross for your soul told you, most people take the wrong road. And he told you to be among the few who do not. That is not pessimism. That is mercy. Catechism paragraph 1037 is consoling and clear. God predestines no one to hell. He created every soul for heaven. He offers grace to everyone, always, without exception. He desires the salvation of every human being, but he created us free. Real freedom includes the power to say no. When a soul rejects God persistently, consciously, and dies in that refusal, it is not God who condemned them. It is the soul itself that freely, irrevocably excluded itself from his love. God never stops knocking. Think of a student who knows the final exam is coming. The date is set. The stakes are clear. But every night he parties instead of studying, ignoring every warning. When he failed it him, not the professor. The professor only pronounced a sentence the student wrote himself with his own choices. That is exactly how hell works. God gives us the sacraments, Our Lady, the Church, our conscience, and time. Every soul in hell, their step-by-step choice. Divided. Catholic theology distinguishes two categories of suffering in hell. The first is the pain of loss, the eternal privation of the vision of God. The second is the pain of sense, primarily fire. Real, spiritual, capable of tormenting body and soul alike, both are realities defined by the Church. And of the two, every saint and theologian agrees the greater torment is not the fire. It is the permanent, shattering awareness of having lost God, the only being that could ever fully satisfy the soul. Every soul was made for God. This is not a pious opinion, it is a metaphysical fact. Our souls tend toward their Creator by nature, as all things tend toward their purpose. In hell, the soul sees God as infinitely desirable and is permanently excluded from Him. Saint Alphonsus. Ligori wrote of the condemned soul's first realization: I lost my soul, I lost paradise, I lost God, I lost everything, forever. And it was my fault. That single word, forever, is the essence of the torment. The fire of hell is not symbolic. Mark 9 describes it as the fire that is not quenched and repeats this phrase 3 times in one passage for emphasis. Matthew 25 minutes and 41 seconds calls it eternal fire. Luke 16:24 shows a soul begging for one drop of water to cool his tongue. Saint Faustina, taken to hell by an angel in 1936, described a spiritual fire incandescent with the wrath of God. Burning without consuming, a torment that intensifies with no relief, no break, no reduction, and no end. Saint Alphonsus teaches that memory becomes a relentless tormentor in hell, every mass missed, every confession postponed, every grace rejected, every moment that could have been turned into salvation replayed with perfect clarity forever. The soul in hell remembers every Sunday it stayed home, every rosary it refused, every time it heard God knocking and turned away. Time, which we waste so carelessly here, reveals its full weight only when it is gone, permanently and irrevocably gone. The understanding, says Saint Alphonsus, grasps in hell the full weight of what was lost: God, heaven, love, joy, and knows it is irreparable. The will is denied everything it desires. It wanted pleasure without God. It receives suffering without end. It wanted autonomy. It receives eternal helplessness. Dante placed over le hope note as poetry. As a theological fact, because in hell, the time of mercy is definitively, permanently over. July 13th, 1917, the Virgin Mary opened her hands and light pierced the earth. Lucia later wrote, "We saw a sea of fire, and plunged in this fire were demons and souls as if they were red-hot coals, transparent and black, floating in the conflagration raised by flames that issued from them, then falling back like sparks in a huge fire." Amid shrieks and groans of pain and despair, the Virgin then said with sorrow, "This is where the souls of poor sinners go." She was warning her children. October 1936, guided by an angel, Saint Faustina descended into hell. In her diary, paragraph 741, she names 7 torments every condemned soul suffers, without exception: the loss of God, perpetual remorse of conscience, the certainty that the state will never change, fire incandescent with God's wrath, unending darkness and suffocating odor, the constant company of Satan, and finally, despair, hatred of God, and eternal blasphemy. She adds, most souls there did not believe hell existed. On May 3, 1868, Don Bosco was led in a dream to the gates of hell. He saw young men he recognized falling into a burning abyss. The guide invited him to touch only the outer wall, not the interior. Don Bosco placed his hand against it. He awoke screaming. The palm of his hand was visibly burned. The skin peeled for days. The friars in neighboring rooms had heard the cry. Padre Pio, too, bore the wounds of battle with the demonic. The saints who saw it with their whole being. Philosopher Jaime Balmes wrote, "Ambition, treachery, fraud, adultery, vices that enjoy such impunity in this world, will they never encounter a God who makes them feel the weight of his indignation? Logic alone demands an answer. Those who abandoned their families, murdered the innocent, corrupted children, exploited the poor, and died unrepentant, will they share the same eternal fate as those who spent their lives in love and sacrifice? That would not be mercy. It would be absurdity." Saint Teresa of Ávila said, "The soul that gives up prayer needs no demon to drag it to hell. It walks there itself." Saint Alphonsus Liguori adds, "He who prays is saved. He who does not pray is condemned. Prayer is the oxygen of the soul. Not a box to check, a living encounter with the God who wants to save you. Begin with 15 minutes a day. That is all the saints asked. That small daily investment opens a door that nothing else in the world, and certainly no demon, can close." Saint Francis de Sales warned, "While you dance, many souls burn in hell for the sins committed in that very place." Saint Alphonsus said that bad companions are worse than the devil you resist, but a friend you trust. Cut the near occasions of sin. The harmful friendships, the habits that pull you back, the environments that always end in sin. And take your salvation seriously. It is the main business of your life. Everything else is secondary. Every day that passes brings you closer to the exam. Matthew 7:13 again, Jesus himself, "Most people take the wide road, moral relativism, rejecting God's law, living as though death will never come. To save your soul, you must swim against that current. Not because it is comfortable, but because you were not made for the wide road. You were made for eternity. Take Jesus by one hand and Our Lady by the other. With them, the narrow road is possible. Without them, even the wide road will not give you the peace you are looking for. Here is the final word, and it is enormous in its hope. Hell is real, but you are still here. That is God's mercy speaking through time itself. You can still go to confession. You can still change. You can still choose. The door of divine mercy stands open to every sinner who is truly sorry." Us Padre Garrigot Lagrange wrote, "The hell that awaits the impenitent has saved countless souls. Knowing it, really knowing it, is not despair, it is freedom. Go to confession today. God is waiting." If this video has moved you, share it. Someone in your life is running out of time and does not know it. Leave a comment. Tell us your story. What other tips can you give us to help other people get closer to God and go to heaven? And subscribe to Holy Defenders for more Catholic apologetics every week. May God bless you. May Our Lady cover you with her mantle and lead you safely home.